Good to be able to talk to everybody tonight. I hope you're all having a blessed and wonderful day and had a good first part of your week. I know the first part of my week's been a really good week. I know that we've had several before we get started that need prayers of the church, and just I know that I'm praying for each and every one of all of our members and all those who are dealing with issues, and I hope that each and every one of you are doing the same. I wanted us to talk for just a minute about straddling the fence. I think that's an issue a lot of times that people find themselves in, and they find themselves in it simply trying to get as close to the edge as something as possible. I dealt with something similar to that earlier in the week, and without getting into any details, it involved just some people just trying to manipulate things just a little bit to try to work in their favor. Too many times today, though, I think Christians wind up in the same situation when it comes to Christianity. They look at Christianity as something to follow and something to live by, but they also look and say, how close to the edge can I get without there ever being a real, true issue? Sadly enough, as Christians, that's really not the way that each and every one of us should think. Honestly, we should be trying to follow as close to Jesus as we can and not trying to stray off of the path. I want us to think just for a minute about just Christianity in general. And here's what I want to point out or to say. First of all, when it comes to the way each and every one of us live our lives, it's important to remember the fact that other people are watching what we do and what we say and how we react in certain situations. The things that we do have an influence on other people, whether we realize it or not. I think a lot of times people wind up in a bad situation slowly. It's not something that they necessarily intended to be. It's just that they just kept letting themselves slide little and little at a time. That's why Jesus even talked about being lukewarm and spitting them out of their mouth. Why was that? Because they really were not dedicated. An example of that that's always been told to me is, have you ever seen cows and they'll stick their head through a fence to graze on the other side of the fence? Why? Because it just seems more appealing than where they're at. And because they do it, they start pushing against the wire, and then they start trying to get a little farther and a little farther, and then eventually they're going to make it through that wire. And when they make it through that wire and they find themselves on the other side of the fence for cars and traffic, and they get upset and they can't figure out how to get back into where it was that they originally were. It didn't look so bad after they were on the other side of the fence. And a lot of times I think people try to put on a persona in their life to appear to be more of a Christian than what they are. One person who has passed away now used to preach at Hollins. He preached there in the early 60s. But he had a phrase, before he died, me and him had a talk, and he talked a good bit about people who were wanting to kind of straddle the fence. And he said, if you're going to go to hell, he said, you might as well go in a Cadillac. So don't pretend to be something that you're not. Now, I'm not accusing anybody or saying that anybody is trying to pretend to be anything that they're not, that I really, truly, honestly believe all the members we have are really truly striving. But what I ask is for each and every one of us, and myself and everyone included, to sometimes to stop and evaluate our lives and make sure that we're not getting as close to that edge as we can without going over. I hope each and every one of you have a blessed day, and I can't wait to see each and every one of you Sunday. God bless.